Guys, I want to talk to you about my Emersed setup. You can use a cracked tank for this or any old tank that you're no longer using. So what Emersed is when you let your plants grow out of the water in a high humidity environment. Now how you create a high humidity environment is you take a tank and you put it outside. You fill it with maybe 1 or 2 inches of water at the bottom, and you cover it up with either another piece of glass, or you could use cling wrap or plastic. You can just use tape to keep it down. You can poke some holes in the top if you like, but it's not necessary. And you put some plants in and you let them start growing out of the water. This is some dwarf hair grass over here. So what happens when the plants grow out of the water, they can absorb CO2 a lot easier. There's more CO2 outside of the water than there is inside of the water. So because of your plants having this abundance of CO2 without using any CO2 tanks, they are able to grow super fast. This is about 3 days where I've put these plants in. They take a while to adjust, and then after that they start spreading. You can see this tank was in my rack system, and I cracked the front of the glass by pouring a bucket of water in. So I put this tank right on top of my rack. Also filled it up with a bit of water, and there's some stem plants in here. Ludwigia and some other types of stem plants are in here. You can see they will first start spreading across the bottom very fast, and then they will start shooting upwards. And it's these upward shoots that you can clip off, and then you put them into your tank, and they will convert back to a submersed plant. Now the benefits of an immersed plant is you do not have any algae, because algae does not grow out of the water. So this plant won't have any algae on it. And you can just propagate plants so much faster than this. You can do this with a Nubius, Crips, or any slow growing plant as well to speed up the process. You can just use any cracked tank or old tank that you're no longer using that's scratched, and some glass lids on top. This is a view inside the tank. Now if you don't have a tank, you can use anything else like a plastic container, see-through plastic container. These do work. I'm just assuming that you have a cracked tank and you want to make some use for it. This is a carport I've got, and it lets about 50% of the light through. So they get sunlight all day, but it's not direct sunlight. So put your tanks outside, clip some plants, put them in, and if you see water droplets forming on the top of the tank and on the sides, you know it's working. If you have a smaller tank, do not put it in direct sunlight. Make sure it's in a bit of shade. Maybe 1 or 2 hours a day of direct sunlight is more than enough. My tanks are all under this carport, which is why they do not get too much sun. If your tank is in full sun, you might melt your plants, so be careful of that. Cheers guys, please like and subscribe.